Now here is a question that exposes the biggest confusion in fat loss. Why do keto, carnivore, vegan, intermittent fasting, and paleo all claim to be the best diets, yet they work for different people? It's not about what you think. It's not about macros. It's not about meal timing. Now, every single diet that actually works, regardless of the name or philosophy behind it, works because of one single non-negotiable law: calories. Now, diets are tools. Calories are the law, which brings me to my first point: the law versus the tools. Calories are not a diet, bro. They are the law every diet obeys. Now, think of it like gravity, man. You can't choose whether it applies to you or not. You can design systems to work within that flow, but you don't get to ignore gravity, right? The same applies to calories, man. And here's the non-negotiable rule: energy balance determines whether you lose or gain weight, all right? Now, consume fewer calories than you burn, you lose weight. Consume more, you gain weight. This is thermodynamics, man. Physics, not theory, all right? Research in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition confirms weight loss occurs when energy intake is less than energy expenditure, regardless of macronutrient composition. Now, diets are basically systems designed to help you obey the law of calories. For instance, keto creates deficit by eliminating carbs, eliminates many calorie-dense foods. Carnivore creates deficit through extreme restriction of carbs and high satiety through feeding protein. Vegan often creates deficit through lower calorie density. Intermittent fasting creates deficit by restricting eating windows. Paleo creates deficit by eliminating processed foods. Now, each diet has different rules, for sure, but they all produce weight loss through the one and only mechanism: getting you into calorie deficit, and that's it. But here's the important question though: what is the ratio of fat to muscle mass lost on each diet? And that is exactly why I love and like the balanced diet, man. So when you think a diet is the answer, you actually created the tool instead of understanding the law itself, all right? So when a diet stops working, you hop to another diet, and then another, and then another. You say that the diet is the problem, but in reality, it is your lack of understanding about the law, okay? And the law never changed. You just stopped obeying it, and that's it. And here's the rule of thumb, man, okay? To lose weight, you need to be mindful about the calorie more than the diet itself. Now let's move to point number 2. Why every diet works. Diets are delivery systems for calorie control. Now, I'm not here to attack any diet, bro. Keto works, carnivore works, vegan works, paleo works, intermittent fasting works. They all work, but they do not work for the reasons that most people think, right? Why keto appears to work, you think? Someone loses 10 pounds in 2 weeks on a keto diet. They created ketosis immediately. Ketones are magic, man. My body started burning fat for fuel. You are partially right, but not completely. And let me explain what I mean by that. What's essentially happening is that you eliminated entire macronutrient category, which is carbs, which is not optimal for your health. Automatic calorie reduction, higher protein, which is more satiating. The initial weight loss is largely water weight from depleted glycogen stores. Calorie restriction is the primary driver of weight loss, even on a keto diet, man. Why intermittent fasting works? Here is why. It removes breakfast, 300 to 600 calories already gone. Compressed eating in an 8-hour window, which is harder for you to overeat, right? And often it's bare food choices. But still, in order for it to work, your calories have to match the desired outcome, which is calorie deficit. Why carnivore works? Extreme food restriction, hard to overeat on only meat, very high protein, which is the most satiating macro, elimination of all processed food, massive reduction in food variety. So it is the calorie deficit again, man, not some unique property of eating only animal products. Now, why do people constantly fight about diets? Now, every diet has evangelists that actually swear it is the one and only because it worked for them, right? And guess what? It did work for them. But not because of the philosophy or the diet or something, because of the one mechanism and non-negotiable rule and flow. The calorie deficit they could actually sustain, all right? And the diet that actually works best for you is the one that actually create a calorie deficit, and two, that you can sustain long term. And that's it. Now, diets are not useless. They are actually useful for creating structures and maintaining a deficit, all right? So when you understand this, you stop treating diets like religions and you start treating them like tools in a toolbox. And now, let's move to my third point. Point number 3. Calories equals accountability, not freedom. Calories demand accountability, man. Now, here's what most people actually want. Just tell me what to eat. Just don't make me track anything. Tracking feels restrictive for the man, kind of work. They feel that they have lost the food freedom, alright? But here's what I've learned, bro. The feeling of restriction actually comes from accountability, not from the tracking itself, alright? When you don't track calories, you are not free. You are just unaware, alright? You can eat whatever you want and not lose fat. That is not freedom. That is actually being controlled by lack of awareness, alright? The real freedom is knowing exactly how much you are eating and what you are eating, making informed decisions, and getting results because you are stewarding your body and nutrition very well. That is the real freedom, man. Now, tracking calories is actually accepting responsibility for what you are putting in your body. It's like saying, I'm going to be honest about my choices and their consequences. That is not losing freedom. That is gaining integrity, bro. And the people who track, they actually lose more weight and keep it off longer. Why? Because accountability breeds consistency, and consistency leads to transformation, man. It seems like discomfort, right? Yes, tracking is uncomfortable at first. Because you know why? Because it actually reveals the truth, man. You were eating more than you thought. What you used to call a handful was 300 calories. Your healthy smoothie had 600 calories in it. That discomfort is not the tracking's fault, man. It is the gap between belief and reality. Calories are not restrictive. They are clarifying. Number 4, the patience and timeline reality. Calories work on a timeline, not on your schedule. Here's the cultural lie, bro. Every diet promises fast results. Lose 10 pounds in 2 weeks. Lose fat fast. But here's the harsh truth, man. Fat loss has a speed limit determined by thermodynamics, not marketing. You don't believe me? Okay, no problem. Here's the real math, bro. 1 pound of body fat contains approximately 3,500 calories of stored energy, okay? Which is what you need to burn to lose 1 pound of fat, alright? This is established science. Let's assume that you are in a 500 calorie deficit per day. 3,500 calories, which is 1 pound of fat, divided on 500, which is your daily deficit, equals 7 days of deficit adherence. That means losing 1 pound of fat takes 7 days, man. And you cannot speed this up by willpower, by the way. It's just physics, man. To lose 20 pounds of actual fat at a sustainable 500 calorie daily deficit takes approximately 20 weeks. That's 5 months, not 30 days, not 2 weeks, 5 months of consistent deficit and effort, man. And here's the timeline that most people actually miss, okay? Ready? Weeks 1 to 2 is rapid weight loss, mostly water weight and glycogen stores. Weeks 3 to 6 is slower and frustrating. Here is where actual fat loss starts doing its work, man, but it's not visible yet. Week 7 to 12 is visual changes start appearing. Weeks 12 to 20 is where obvious transformation takes place, man. And most people quit here, right before visual changes appear. And they think that calories have stopped working. Calories were working all the time, man. You were just early. Do you remember the biblical verse, Galatians chapter 6, 9? Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. At the proper time, not when you want it, okay? So when you connect calories to time instead of speed, everything changes, man. Instead of going like, I only lost 3 pounds in 3 weeks, that is too slow. Instead of be like, okay, I am faithfully maintaining my deficit, 3 pounds in 3 weeks is exactly what the math predicts, okay? I am right on track. The harvest is coming. Just be patient, man. And patience is not passive, man. It is actually active trust in a process you cannot see. And this brings me to the next point. Point number 5, psychological safety. The early reframe. Slow progress does not mean failure. It means you are early in the timeline. Here is the doubt that actually kills progress. You are in week 6 or 7. You hope on the scale barely moved, okay? You look in the mirror, you see no difference. That's frustrating, devastating, right? You immediately be like, this is not working, man. The diet, the calories, they are not working anymore. No, bro, they are working. You are just in the invisible phase, man. So when you plant a seed today, nothing invisible happens for weeks or even months, right? But the seed is actually germinating underground. Roots are forming. Does that mean that the seed is not growing? Does that mean that the seed and the plant is not working? Hell no. It just means that it is early for the seed to be seen as a plant. And that's it. I know it's unbearable, man. It feels frustrating. It feels devastating, right? But here's what's actually happening when you are in a deficit, but nothing is happening. Like, you are not seeing any results or changes. Fat cells releasing stored energy. That's happening. Your body using that energy, that's also happening. Water retention fluctuating, which is masking scale changes, which is devastating sometimes. Visceral fat reducing before subcutaneous fat, invisible, but it's also happening. You are not stuck, bro. You are processing through the early phase, and that's it. So the discomfort of slow progress is not evidence of failure, by the way. It's the refining process. It's building character. You are not failing, man. You are just in the early stage of a process that works over months. So commit to the process for 12 weeks minimum before you evaluate whether calories work or do not work. And at week 12, you will actually have lost 10 to 12 pounds, seen visible changes, and probably built sustainable habits. Proving the law of calories is absolute, man. Trust the law. Stay faithful to the deficit. The harvest comes at the proper time, man. As I already said, calories are not a diet. They are the law every diet obeys. And here are the key principles. Number 1, the law versus the tools. Calories are law, which is non-negotiable. Diets are tools. That is flexible. Every diet creates a deficit. Number 2, why diets work? Not because of unique philosophy, because they all create a deficit you can sustain. So choose a diet that you are most comfortable with and can sustain long term, okay? Number 3, calories equals accountability, not freedom. Tracking is not restriction, it's integrity. Accountability leads to consistency, and consistency to transformation. Number 4, the timeline reality. 500 calorie deficit equals 1 pound of fat loss per week. That is just physics, man. You can't rush the harvest, okay? Number 5, psychological safety. Slow progress equals you are early. Commit to 12 weeks minimum and trust the law and stay faithful and patient. So here's your action step, man. This week, calculate your maintenance calories and commit to a 3 to 500 calorie deficit for 12 weeks, okay? And do not evaluate whether it is working or not until week 12. Just stay faithful and patient, okay? All you have to do is just eat fewer calories than you actually burn and be patient to let the law to work over time. And that's it. And remember, you are not failing. You are just early in the process. Keep going, man. And now if you want to see and know how I lost 40 pounds, check out this video. Or download the ebook for a step-by-step process. That is the natural next step, man. And if you got value out of the video, please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more nutrition and training fundamentals. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, take care everybody. Bye-bye.